Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning brief on Monday, 27 July. If you are listening in, checking us out on replay, you can go and join us full time go to ototnow.com for a free trial. You can come check it out and then see if you want to join after that. Today, we're going to talk about, of course, investing with military precision, like we always do. There's some podcast update numbers. Again, 32 episodes out now, around 1,100 downloads, closing in on 1,000 for the month of July. So all that's going well. I have 3 interviews lined up this week, so we shall see. All right, and also make sure that you open both chat and Q&A windows and mark all attendees so everybody can hear or everybody can see, our communications out there in the squadron. All right, for our mission objectives today, we're going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. What we're going to talk about today is Apple stock and its CEO, Tim Cook, and the concept of reversion to the mean, which is what's going on with Apple stock right now. So it's all tying in together. As far as Apple stock, I would call that growing our money just because it has been an absolute staple in my portfolio as well as many others for a very long time. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, even though it sold off in the past couple days. So the point of today will be don't sweat that. I'll show you exactly why off the chart. All right, for our flow today, we're going to talk about long, short, open, short, long. What that means is we will talk about long topics like the market around the world review. Check out Asian and European markets, how they did over the weekend and how they opened before us today. And then we'll go headline review, talking with the futures, and then what's on our plate for this morning. And then we will cover those 6 investments that you see there, all under a topic of reversion to the mean, which they're all in a little bit, but we'll talk about that. We'll go into some day trading stuff within about 10 minutes of the open, and then we'll close that out about 10 minutes after the open, and then we'll transition to Q&A after that. Remember, your Q&A does not need to be related to the topic of the day. It can literally be anything that you want it to be. If you have any issues out there for contingencies, go to steve@ototnow.com. And of course, our standard disclaimer applies that this is a educational presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence before you take action on anything you hear today. All right, let's go ahead and take a look up at the TD Ameritrade screen for our year in review. Again, this is the SPY. A couple new AI-generated lines up there for our trend, so we'll talk to those there at the end. You see in the first set, and that kind of the ones to the left are showing us in a significant uptrend, and now you see that it's kind of put in a different trend. So it's kind of tapering off there as we go into the next segment of the market. So overall, still in an uptrend, just not the same level as we were before. So how does the calendar play into that? Well, July is, of course, when we start earnings season, and that's what we've generally seen pushing the market higher, is the earnings are not nearly as bad as everybody thought they were going to be. Remember, recession, depression talk out of the end of March, early April, and the market said, not so fast. These companies can still find a way to make money, and they have. American ingenuity, that's me being a little bit biased to my own country, but I mean, come on, everybody's pivoting, reinventing, figuring it out day by day. So that's why the market has pretty much gone higher. Now, we are going into August and September, which are traditionally lower months for the market. So do not get worried at all if the market comes in 5% over the next couple of months. Part of that's reversion to the mean, which we'll talk about today. Part of that is just generally, as you look at this chart, taking a breather from, straight up since March 23rd. I know it's not straight, but give me a break. It's a V, and it's tapering out, and we're kind of, we're due for a little bit of a reset. So don't worry about that. All right, let's take a look at the last week. Again, 5 days here in dark blue are your Monday through Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday went just fine. Saw some selling on Thursday and a little more selling on Friday. Of course, what happened this weekend, we started talking the relief bill, and that gets everybody excited again, and that's why the futures are up today. All right, let's talk about some earnings. Monday morning, there generally aren't a lot of earnings, but 2 are out that I want to talk about specifically. The first one is HAS, which is Hasbro, missed earnings badly. So they missed it by I think 20 cents, something like that, which is pretty significant. So their stock, we're going to take a look at that for short today. I have not been a fan of Hasbro stock. I kind of call that the old toy company. Like you hear me talk about old tech, like IBM, Intel, kind of old tech left behind by the market a little bit. Hasbro, same thing, can't hold a candle to an Activision or a Take-Two or any of those names. So, but they missed earnings. Now, I do want to keep an eye on the stock because that is one that traditionally you can buy into the Christmas season and hold through this Christmas season and sell it in February after it releases earnings again, or late January. But we would need that stock to come in significantly before I would even get excited about it. The second one we'll talk about is Albertsons, which is ACI. So Albertsons, pretty strong operation, known for good leadership, just like Kroger as well is known for its good leadership. So they are maximizing the opportunity they have, and they actually beat earnings. So they're on the way up. We'll look at it long. I don't think it's a good day trading opportunity because it just doesn't have that much to move. But good job on Albertsons in a constrained environment where there's all kinds of concerns about how they're going to stay open and do business. They are doing great. So good on them. All right, let's take it over to the headline review. We'll take a look at our earnings first. Excuse me, we'll take a look at the futures first. As you can see there, NASDAQ is almost up towards 1% earlier this morning, and the Dow and S&P are easily in the green. Again, coronavirus stimulus package take 2 is in play. So we'll take a look at the headlines in a minute. Europe was down across the board. We'll look at Asia, was mixed pretty much and not a lot in motion. So that's kind of nice. It's been all over the place. Look at the US numbers from Friday. I already showed you the chart. These are the raw numbers. Of note, and why I like to take a look at Friday is when you look at the volatility all the way to the right, it did increase some, but it's still well below 30, which is kind of the increased volatility mark where I get concerned. I do expect probably in sometime in August or September we'll creep up over that 30 and probably hold it till the election. But I don't see anything spurring that today. All right, bonds, 10-year, wow, yep, still down below 0.6%. Crazy. Taking a look at oil, holding nicely above 40, just above 41 there. And then the last one is the precious metals have been on fire. This weekend is no different. A huge move up in silver, and nice zooming in on silver and gold there, right? Because their gold is at a surge to record high. So it's either near it or in it. And then silver, people tend to think, well, this must be a record high for silver. No, it's not. It almost touched 50 way back in yesteryear. So again, if you wanted to go into one of these, it would be silver, not gold, in my opinion. All right, let's go back to the pre-market. We'll look at the headlines. The forehead you're looking there as Secretary Mnuchin as we go up there with a very nice mask on. Go USA. I like it. Okay, he said over the weekend, but he and Kudlow were both talking about very positive, yeah, I know, right? Go silver, go. Very positive news about a stimulus package. Again, this is a political football between the Democrats who are asking for one thing, Republicans the other. The answer will be somewhere in the middle. I think we get it done this week, if not today, meaning get agreed upon today, hopefully signed into law by tomorrow. That might be a little optimistic on my part, but I do think the market creeps up until that actually comes out. And then after it comes out, there won't be any more good news again, so we can get the good old bad news headlines back and the gloom and doom from there. But I do think the market continues up until we actually get the stimulus package. All right. Let's see, $1,200 checks and the same criteria. So evidently, if you remember right, that's below 150K. I remember for couples and 75K for individuals. So if you are below that, congrats, you'll be getting free checks from the government. And the moratorium where you can't boot out people that aren't paying the rent is going to continue probably through the end of the year. Now that's going to cause a problem eventually. I'll talk to it here. There's what's called a stampede to the suburbs. So I had to look that up. It's the first time I heard that this morning, but let's think about that for a second. And one of the names I have up as a home builder is people that have already seen with the coronavirus and the social distancing, they're already starting to see the people that aren't paying the rent are people that are living in big cities. That's one. And then secondly, they're not paying the rent because they're moving. They're moving out to the suburbs. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on. The house next to us is for sale here at a ridiculous price. What they asked for it, and it's already got 3 bids well above the asking price. Kind of crazy. Don't know if that's happening everywhere, but at least in my 100-foot radius, I can see that happening already. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. If so, that's going to benefit the home builders. That's going to benefit Home Depot and Lowe's, and those are some names that I love. Okay. Yeah, the biggest vaccine study, I believe that, yep, it's Moderna, 30,000 people. They have up to 150,000 volunteers. So that's interesting. There's so many volunteers. Again, I read a little bit about this morning. There's going to be a control group. So, you don't know whether you're getting the vaccination or not. And so they can study it. So it's kind of interesting, but expect more of that as we go into the end of the year. All right, tech earnings. Again, we will wait and see. The big tech thing that was supposed to happen Friday, where the big 4 horsemen go into Congress and talk size of their companies and antitrust issues. All that is now scheduled for Wednesday of this week. So we shall see how that plays out. All right, let's see what else we have. Apple stock, we will look at in depth here in a minute, so we don't need to talk about that here. Yep, Europe already passed. If you remember, I think that was Friday, maybe Thursday, they passed their big stimulus bill, so they could go up. Haven't seen that about Under Armour. Under Armour's pretty much been untouchable for a company I loved for so long, but all kinds of issues behind the scenes. Can't touch it. Okay, you see the biggest calls of the day there. Amazon, that was an upgrade. Also, Apple, 425 price target. Biogen's a name that's not getting nearly enough love. They're in the news. They're working on Alzheimer's. So when you think of, we would all hope that coronavirus is a short-term thing. Short-term's obviously relative. I got that. We may be dorking around with this for a couple years, but it's short-term in comparison to Alzheimer's, which is one of the worst things out there. So if anybody can do something in that area, which again, that's been tough for them to do that, that'll be huge. So they're got a big grant to take a look at that. All right, let's scroll down a little more. Hasbro revenue falls 29%. Store closures, none of that is any good. Okay, if you remember Friday, it was the Chinese retaliation, kicked us out of Chengdu. That kind of hit the market kind of hard. So we shut it down and I think bailed on it ahead of time. So I did not hear any more US-China news over the weekend. So I do think that was one little tiff kind of thing, like I said in my video that it sent out. So a non-issue until it pops up again. All right, and let's keep going up. Okay, there's some China-US stuff. We won't worry too much about that. All right, let's take a look at Apple stock. Again, pulling up finviz.com is what you're looking at here. And this is a 9-month chart. Don't know why they picked that, but they do. So 9 months. Yeah, vacation to Wuhan district. I like it. The Predator's making a comment there in the chat. All right. Obviously, with Apple, it followed everything else from the rise to mid-February, sell off hard. Apple down to 220, so 320 to 220, 30-ish%, 35-ish%. So pretty much on path with the market, and then not quite a double from there. So obviously, you know that I've been in Apple for years, that I'm not concerned if Apple drops back down to 220 today. Kind of hope it doesn't, because that would shock the market pretty good. But honestly, I don't care as far as what would I do with my Apple shares. I'm not selling them. The only time I do sell some of these shares is on occasion. The dividend, which doesn't pay, if you look lower left there, it's below 1% now. So it doesn't pay you much, but it does pay you something for holding as many shares as most of us do. But if you reinvest that, sometimes you'll end up with an extra few shares of Apple. Well, sometimes I'll peel those off. But the core holding, whether it's 100 shares, 500 shares, 1,000 shares, depending on where you are, yeah, I'm not touching those. So you can see that it has an overpriced valuation, at least according to PE, of 29 and 24. When you look at the difference between current PE and forward PE, well, it's priced price to earnings ratio. So again, that just means that their earnings are going to go up over time because the PE ratio is projected to drop. So a little ratio math there. If you look at the fourth column over, you can see the ROA, ROE, ROI. When I talk about companies that are unique and that have a highly addictive product with a moat and high margin, that's the margin I'm looking for. Is that whole column is just an amazing margin. iPhone 12 is out. I'm on iOS 14, or it will be out for Christmas season. I'm on iOS 14. The beta is available. If you're not on it, check it out. It's got an app collapsing kind of thing, which is pretty neat. You have to go specifically request it, though, if you want the beta version. All right, and then over in the right-hand column, talking a little bit about reversion to the mean. So there's, when you look at performance year-to-date up 26%, albeit, yeah, we did a 35% haircut in the middle of that. So that's pretty darn good. If the whole portfolio is up that high, you're pretty happy with 2020 and your performance. Most are not. But if you look at the 1 year, it's up 79%. So, I mean, when you look at a chart like this, it needs to take a breather, and that's called reversion to the mean. So we took a huge breather, if you will, in March. Yeah, that's not the breather that I'm talking about. But the breather that we're in right now, where it dropped from basically over 400, where it barely touched over 400 intraday earlier this month, to where it is at 370, couldn't care less. That's actually healthy. If things don't take a breather like this, then they end up getting into a bubble. So you don't want bubbles to happen. So you do want stocks to come in, and especially when it's big tech names. They have to come in. They have to kind of consolidate for a while to build a platform to then go higher. So don't be surprised if that happens. All right, let's take a look over at Schwab Advisor Street Smart Edge is the display that's coming to you now. Here we have Apple in the upper left. We already talked about that, but the 6 names that I put up here are basically all either in or due for a reversion to the mean drop. Nothing's wrong with them. Don't care, but, well, except for Tesla. Obviously, you know my position on that. But Tesla was touching almost 2,000. I mean, it was running ridiculous. Back down to 1417 was the close. I'm finding on the chart to the left, even dropped down to, yeah, below 1,400 today is what I would expect. That is a reversion to the mean, plus it's overvalued. But certainly if you hold Tesla shares and you're expecting it to go higher, you want to see it drop. You want to see it consolidate and then build a foundation for going higher. All right, Amazon's another name that has made basically a straight up from 1,600 to a straight double. So from March until now, you've doubled your money. You may have just bought a couple shares because you didn't want to miss out or you wanted to add to your holding. I get that. Don't worry. If you bought above 3,000, it probably will not hold 3,000, even though it just got an upgrade today. I could easily see it going back in the $2,700, $2,800 range. Yawn, no big deal. That just means it's going to set up for the next run higher. All right, NIO's another name that has basically, if you look back to last October, it was below $2 for a while. Kind of ran up and then hit almost $2 again during the sell-off, and then 5 times that, 5x that in its run-up. So NIO's doing great things. They just got a huge contract for their mobile battery delivery, which you've heard me talk about. But that's still not enough to be able to keep the stocks up in the bozo sphere as far as its valuation. All right, bottom left, Plug is a chart that I wanted to show you there. It's got a big run up. That's a 64-day chart. If we can zoom out on that just a little bit. There we go. That's what I want to kind of look at, is it's kind of gone up from around $250 or so up to almost $11. Same sort of thing. It's a battery company. Great future, obviously, with all the electric vehicle push, but it just can't maintain. If you look how vertical that chart went, it can't maintain that. It has to come in, and that's reversion to the mean. All right, the last one I'll talk to you about is Meritage Homes. Again, they're a home builder, kind of small on the big scale, but I do like, they're pretty innovative, so I like to follow them. And the reason I'm showing that chart is this may not revert to the mean. If this move to the suburb, which it'll take a while to be able to get some actual data on how many people are moving. So it's a storyline, it's a thesis. I don't know how credible the thesis is, or if it's going to hold past, the initial scare of COVID, but we shall see. But that's why this is up here. This is a chart where if people are moving to the suburbs, it's going to continue higher instead of reverting to the mean. Okay, that's enough on mean reversion. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tabs. And as we transition to that, let's pull up Hasbro on the left screen. Again, this would be a short based off of earnings. So it closed at 77. It's gapping down to 73. I'm looking for the percent. I could calculate it myself, I suppose, but I won't. So I don't know, 5% or so as it's coming down. But when you think of this, there's really no good stories behind Hasbro. So 5.4%, a little bit light on the volume, but that's going to pick up. There's going to be people dumping this name today, I guarantee you. So that's one thing we'll look at short. But let's look at Moderna, mRNA long. When you look at the biotechs and the drug companies, there's about zero way to, it's all emotion, right? It's not like data. You can't pull a chart and look at numbers. It's, hey, whoever gets there first and whoever can have the better headlines, this stock will go higher. So closed at 73, up at 79, 6-7% or so. Let's call it 8.5%. Is what my 8.54 is what my quick math tells me, if you believe that. The third stage trial for potential vaccine. So could that run higher? Yeah, it was up at 98, 5 days ago? I could see that running higher. So if you're interested in taking a long, that is one to look at off of headline news. Futures look like they're still holding, so that's looking good. Next one I want to look at is Albertsons ACI. This would be a long thesis. It does have the volume. I thought that might be a concern. So 16 all the way up to 1630-ish. So not a real huge move. And it's a grocery store, so maybe not something that you could actually get a move out of for the day. All right. I also wanted to look at BIIB long. Again, this is the Alzheimer's headline. So looking at 273 up to 280 or so. So that's $8 into a $30 stock. It's got room to go higher. Remember, if you look, 3 days ago, that big E at the top of the chart means it had earnings, and it dropped from 295 to 272 over the next couple days. So obviously earnings didn't go well, but this is a good news story, taking it back higher. Definitely something to keep an eye on if you want to take a long today. And then the last one we'll look at before we go to the tabs is Garmin, GRMN. If you want to, if you're a runner at all, I follow a couple running forums, even though I'm kind of not currently running a lot. But I want to get back into it. The Garmin whole system has been down. It's being held hostage, basically, by a cyber terrorist, if you will, asking for $10 million to basically release the lock on the ransomware out there. So this is going on day 2. That's a big deal because a lot of people have their products and they're basically paperweights right now. So that's not good. Closed at 96, down to 94. It's got some pretty big momentum down from above 100. So we'll see. That's a name you could take short, especially if the market continues short. So that's what I kind of had in my notes. Let's take a look at that left tab and we'll get started. Again, if you have something you want me to take a look at, let's put it right in the chat and I will pull it up. Silver on fire. I would not take any precious metal as a trade, but wow, good for silver. All I'm saying, it's not even halfway to its all-time high either. So could happen. Not something I'm going to put dollars behind. Arbutus Biopharma meets the criteria. Let's click on that, see what that is. Can't touch it without a headline. It looks like it's a continuation. Ooh, came up from $3 up to above $5. Remember, that's kind of where the criteria for if there's a biotech ETF out there where they can hold this now. So I'm looking at left at the it's closed at 496, up at 537. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that. I don't like it doesn't have a headline, but it is right around that magic $5 level. AMD up a little after getting crushed. They were drug into the Intel thing. I'm sorry, they weren't crushed. They were helped by the Intel thing. There's Intel bouncing a little. They were off, I think 12, 14%, something like that. American up a little bit. Not going to touch that. Go to the next tab, please. All right, see the predators into mRNA long. We'll see about that. All right. Amazon up a couple of percent. Tesla, same. Nothing moving as much as we want with volume. Not going to touch JNUG. That's a gold thing. So, all right, let's go to the shorts. Low volume, low volume. There's Hasbro a little bit low, but it's going to have enough for any day trade low or short. Excuse me, it'll have enough. Lemonade, I have heard that name, but it's not ringing a bell right now. I think maybe they just IPO'd. If you know what Lemonade does, put it in the chat. Let's take a look at the chart. All right, 86 down to 75. It closed at 77, 74. So came up from 52 about, what's that, 20 days ago maybe. So wow, interesting here. It does meet our numbers a little bit low on volume, but I kind of like it. All right, insurance sales. Not ringing a bell, but I don't know. So can't argue with you. All right, don't see anything else there. Sogo. I'm a little curious. Let's click on that and see what Sogo is. To acquire somebody, it's to acquire the company PR Beijing. Okay, so Chinese firm. Let's not touch that other than it's in play. Silver, gold, trading vehicles, Taiwan Semiconductor. Been in that name before. Let's pull up TSM long. No headline to go with it. It's part of the Intel chip fallout from Friday. Let's see. Don't see anything other than a ton of mining names and precious metal names. Let's check out the last tab. We got 3 minutes to the open. Running a little behind here, so we'll just glance quickly. Moderna, we saw it's going long. Arbitus, Abus, we saw that long. Don't know about Capricorn or Opco, so we'll leave those alone. All right, we're going to switch over to TD Ameritrade, set up our board. Let's go ahead and put Moderna on the left screen. Put HAS, H-A-S, in the middle screen. GRMN on the right screen. Whew, it's a little thin on Garmin. Let's put ABUS, ABUS on that right screen. I'm trying to pick an entry point for a short here. All right, I will take I don't like how much Hasbro's backed up. That's a $5 backup there. Not good. Their conference call is probably going on right now, and they must be saying something good. So I will take ABUS, which I don't have much to go off of here, but I do like the setup and I like the price point. So it'll be ABUS. Let's go short. Looking at where it's at right now, just went up from 530 to 550. That'd be a 20-cent stop. That'd have to take it below 5. I don't like that. I'm going to go a tight stop, which I don't really like, but I will go 10-cent stop, and I will go in at 3 minutes. So 10-cent stop, in at 3, and out at 10. Yep, that works. So 10-cent stop is what he's trying to say there, and you'll see that here in a second. Yeah, that's good to go. All right, so there's mine, ABUS. We will see what happens there. We'll keep an eye on Hasbro. Kind of shocked that it is up as high as it is. All right, we have 15 cents to the open. 15 seconds to the open. We got Moderna long on the headline and ABUS short on the right, and we'll surf around in the middle after we watch Hasbro open. So Moderna was your 14R name. I'd forgotten that. That's kind of funny. Turn around and take it back long. You get your professional trader badge if you get 14R out of it to the upside today. All right, you're in at 2, I'm in at 3, so we can just kind of watch for a second. That's good for you that it's reducing in price, chilling out for a second. Market kind of opened a little bit lower. Let's see, the Dow's in the red here within the first minute. So Dow dropped in the red, NASDAQ's at 0.6 and S&P's at 0.1 basically in the green. So kind of a move lower there initially. A-Bus falling about 10 cents. Hasbro not moving much. All right, let's take a look in the middle at ACI. This is Albertsons as we go into minute 1. So Albertsons did sell off. Again, I had this written down as a long based off of earnings. Look at the market moving down here pretty decently. S&P is about even now. NASDAQ still 0.5% in the green with NASDAQ holding on. Airbus, that would be a sign that you could not take the Airbus short if you were watching real time. You would definitely not, you would say, I missed it and move on. And so other things striping down, that could help you out in the Moderna trade, having it come in so far. All right, 15 seconds until the Predator gets his opening. I like your opening. Let's see, 50 cents. It may blow through that 50 cents pretty quick, but we shall see. Maybe it recovers here a little bit. All right, there's your entry. 77.35, so that would be 76.86 would be your stop. So kind of down there at the bottom. So that's a long, so your bottom's down off the, yeah, you can draw it right down like 76.91 if you want. There we go. 76.86. There is your stop. That's looking good so far. And got a little green in the market, so that's looking like a nice entry point. Nice double bottom at right where you got it is pretty cool. ACI on the move back higher, and Airbus on the move back. Airbus. It's not Airbus. It's what ABUS over here. Forget the name. Arbutus Biopharma on the right. All right, 5 seconds to the entry in my trade. Okay, 531. This is Airbus short with a 10-second stop. So entry at 531. They stop at 541. Got a nice move down already out of that. All right. So my stop is in. Again, we'd be looking for all the way down to $5 is what I would need out of my trade short there for that to hit the 3R mark. Okay, let's check back on HAS and see if that's selling off at all. In the middle pane. Okay, hadn't really made a move down yet. I think that's got more to go. All right, it looks like over here, if my math is right, Predator got stopped out long by that tail. No? So looks, I'm getting waved off. I still see that as a stop out, but we'll see. That's your 1R move. It's a long. I got you. All right. That's why you don't mess. Don't. Yep. All right. I hear you. Team Predator over here. Good call. I got you. All right. So yeah, you're still in the trade. False alarm. False alarm. All right. Let's look in the middle pane. BIIB. Again, I thought about taking this one long on the Alzheimer's. $280 to $283, kind of caught in the range there. All right, I see your nomenclature now. I'm on board. I hear you. ABUS we talked about. Lemonade was a short, LMND. Take a look at that. All right, down a little bit. Looks like the volume is pretty light on that after the first minute. Of course, it's striping down as I would take a look at it. But again, that's it met our numbers with no headline to go along with that. And then TSM would have been a long. So let's take a look at TSM long. So that's kind of a pretty chart for a long. If you got a 2-minute entry, you'd be pretty happy, up $1 on your position there. So it looks pretty good. All right, so let's see. Are we back out of our trade and out at 5? So you close out of your trade here in 10 seconds. All right, so I'll give you a 0.5R on that. We'll go back and rehash the exact numbers if we need to. All right, I'm in at minute, yeah, 84, yeah. Good luck getting 84, but you never know. All right. I'm out at 10 minutes. So we have a few minutes to watch it. Let's check on Luck and Coffee in the middle screen. Not much movement. That's not too bad. We don't need to look at that anymore. Let's take a look at Blink, BLNK. Kind of run through the EV names, selling off a little bit. Let's go to Workhorse, WKHS. Oh, okay. All right. Workhorse getting a little bit of love here. How about NKLA? Up 6%. It's been hit hard again. It basically a hard sell from that stock that being at 40 was when they did the secondary offering. All right, Moderna finally is up at the 3-hour point. Look at that. So that would have been easy money right there. Well, we shall see. All right, let's take a look at Tesla, since we're looking at the EV names. Up to 1426 or so. All right, not bad. Let's put in Amazon, AMZ in. Held 3,000, back up to 360. Okay, and then silver was kind of on fire. Let's check out SLV. Up 6.5%. So I could see people buying that because it's you know, the fear of missing out sort of thing. All right, we're into minute 8, so I get wherever this closes. I'm about even right now, so I would need that to fall off and stop doing what it's doing here, which is climbing higher. If you look at the market all the way to the left, so that's what, six green candlesticks in a row. Those big long dojis to the top, though, that means that there is some selling pressure behind that because it keeps going up and then dropping right back down. So we shall see. Put Apple in that middle pane. Nice little pop up in Apple there, up 2% off of the hard sell off there Friday. Put up BLK, which is Black Rock. Not a lot of volume, as you can see, just because it's such a high point stock. All right, holding 560, down a little bit. All right, mine 535 is where I'm back out of that trade at the end of minute 8. So I'm in the red, so that's a busted trade for me. So congrats to the Predator on your trade. Moderna's treating you right. All right, we can leave that behind. Let's go to the charts and we'll look at some names out there. Clickstream. Okay, Clickstream, again, it's a penny stock, so I don't generally hang out here, but I happen to know a couple of the guys that are involved in this. They have some ESPN folks. That's how I know them. ESPN sportscasters involved in this. It's basically if you want to know more, go to clickstream.tech. I think it's got some weird shred out. Just Google it, and you'll have to find it. But CLIS penny stock. They have a big bunch of money. Their app is coming out. It's basically an app where you can play trivia games and win real money, which of course they get through sponsorships. So it's kind of interesting. Obviously, when you look at that chart, it's been penny stock central. until it went up to above, 20, above a quarter, and then it's kind of sank all the way back in. So when you're looking for entry points, that 6 to 8 channel has kind of been where it's sitting. I had a basis in this of 2 cents for a while. I sold a bunch in that big move up. Sold too soon, by the way. That big move up. But I don't generally fish in this pond much, but Clickstream is a name that I think has got potential to double from here based on the release. And again, it could go to 0 because it's a penny stock, so don't get too excited. All right, Northwest Bio out there, Nicola Blink up 5% or so. CGC is a marijuana name. Those have been crushed. I do think the marijuana whole thesis will go up as the election approaches, especially if it looks like it's going to be a blue wave, which is what the media will report, regardless of the numbers, right? So I do see those coming back into vogue. Sony's got PlayStation 5 coming out, so they're on the move higher. Oh, if you didn't hear, Top Gun got moved again. Yeah. July 2nd, it went from June 23rd this year to December 23rd. Now it's July 2nd of next year for the big release. So again, why would the big movie theaters postpone their big ticket items? Well, they want to get paid. They just can't make enough money to release it on Netflix and get it at $20 a pop. They need you to go to the theater and pay $20 a person to go see the darn thing. And they can't film any more big production roles right now. So it is going to be interesting as far as the movie companies and everybody related to that on how it reacts. Actually put AMC up in the screen since we're talking movie companies and see how, well, there you go. That gives you kind of an idea of where that's been. And yeah, got all the way down to $2. I think we were shorting it around in that time, if I remember right. And again, AMC was the first short we had when the first day one of the room was the easiest short I think we've had. That's when Amazon had a bad rumor about AMC. All right. Lots of names in the green, so that's a good sign. The Dow just went back in the green on the day. NASDAQ's up over 8%, so that's what you're seeing there. Let's click over in the red, see what we have on the red side. So yeah, clickstream.technology if you want to read more. So American Electric Power, lucking up on the top of the loser board. Prudential, JPM, really. DraftKings is up there. A couple of financials. So there's some names in the red. All right, we can get rid of that and let's go to, we're going to come down to the Chrome and pull up Tim Cook. Okay, the reason I want to talk about Tim Cook is, first of all, he's going to be in DC this week. And he's part of the Big Four Horsemen, and so I'll probably cover one of them each day this week as they go in and give their testimony. I think that he's probably, I used to think Jamie Dimon was the best CEO in the business. Then I thought it was Howard Schultz until he started getting political, then had to get rid of Howard. Start to went off the crazy end. Steve Schwartzman from Blackstone, I think, is another pretty amazing individual, as well as far as how he's led his company through all these things. And Tim Cook, I mean, if you got to follow after Steve Jobs, he's kind of the right guy to do it. Steve Jobs was the kind of over the top, flew off the handle a lot. Tim Cook is the everything is under control. Some things, he was the first CEO for Fortune 500 to come out as openly as gay. So that was in 2014. That was kind of a big deal at the time. I think it's kind of a nobody cares anymore, if you will. In 2015, he said he planned to donate his entire stock fortune to charity. So that's a pretty good move. If you scroll down a little bit, he was born in Mobile, Alabama. So I have to like that. And then scroll down a little further. He went to Auburn. He went to Duke. And then 1998 is when he started at Apple. So, and then basically been in the chair 2011 till present, which is really the iPhone, hot and heavy iPhone. Remember, Apple's had some failures along the way. There was the iHome device, which they have now gotten back out of. So they've tried a few things. There was rumored for years that they were going to get into the iCar. They hired a bunch of executives. Either it's coming or they bailed on it because somebody else got too far ahead. They do have Apple CarPlay, though, that you can plug into basically any vehicle out there with a chip. and get your apple into your car. So overall, pretty cool. All right, last we'll look at the Investopedia with reversion to the mean. All this means is we can basically go up and go to the key takeaways, and that's all we need. So mean reversion. So if you have a stock like Apple that averages 15–20% a year and it runs up 80% over the short term, guess what? It's well above the mean, right? So remember all those charts we talked about. A stock can actually drop all the way back down to its mean. Again, that, you know, the slanted line, that the trend that it's in, with really not anybody caring about it. Now, that can be a big move, especially if you think every time a stock moves up that money's yours. And if a stock moves back down, now you've lost money, which is confused thinking. So if you buy it at 100, it goes to 200 and it drops to 198, you have not lost $2. So stop it, right? You're up $98. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy, and you will inevitably sell and get rid of your best of breed stock because it dropped $2 and you lost money. And then 20 years later, you're going to be like, oh, that was the stupidest thing I ever did. So reversion to the mean is your friend. When these stocks run up like Apple, it is perfectly okay that it's back down at 370. It would be fine if it was back down at 350. It'd be fine if it's 320. If it broke 300, that's when it's like, okay, that's not reversion to the mean anymore. Now the chart's broken as far as from a technical standpoint. So reversion to the mean is good. Stocks do need to come down. They can't go straight up, because if they do, then you have 99 all over again. And people were making the comparison last week to 1999 and the big run up in tech, comparing that to recently, basically a post-COVID kind of, that swing has been a 1999 with many of the tech stops up 100%. So if anything, it's good that tech takes a breather in the short term. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Got everything from, let's check Moderna. I'm just looking on another chart to see what happened to it. Moderna actually busted out to the bottom side. It went up to 78.8 and went down to 77 now. So again, a lot of motion in Moderna, but the market overall over 1% in the NASDAQ. So the others are into the green as well. So that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for showing up, and we will check you guys back out tomorrow. See ya.